since July when College Football 25 came out, EA really hasn't added anything major, rather just doing kind of these small fixes that are correspondent to what we actually want to see, but usually what they are just fixes. Nothing new has really been added except for, Ultimate Team cards, but that's to be expected. However, a big change was just hinted at for 26. They have just released this conference or something like that where they went over how their games are going to play out, and there is this big thing coming most likely. So I'm going to go over that today. I'm going to go over some of the context, what the actual change is, and then my opinions about it, as well as some other people's opinions I've seen online. So with that being said, let's get straight into it, going into the background where this change is going to come from. Like I just said, EA has been decent about fixing and supporting the player base's requests, but they have also kind of gone a little bit over the top sometimes, stuff we didn't really want, like for example, Quinshaw Junkin's spin move, it was kind of broken, stuff like that it was fun. It's not that big of a deal that they fixed it because it was kind of game breaking, but it isn't necessarily something that we asked for. But one thing, the focus of today's video was that Road to Glory feels empty, and people have been saying that since it came out, that Road to Glory feels kind of, bare bones and stuff like that, which is something I definitely agree with. Each week just seems like playing a game and then putting your, energy or whatever it is into these different categories, and it just feels like the same thing over and over again. Nothing really new. You get those text messages from your, student advisor, stuff like that, but really that doesn't mean anything, and it is not immersive at all, which has been the biggest complaint over the last kind of 3 or 4 months. Now, getting back into what I was saying about a big change, obviously it's not going to come this year for Road to Glory because for obvious reasons they're working on other stuff and they're going to save it for, hyped up, College Football 26 release to get people to buy the second edition of the College Football series, at least, the newer version of it. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. This big change, it won't come this year. It will come in 26, 27, something like that in the next few years, most likely. As I want to stress this, most likely, don't take this as a confirmation, but I'm going to keep talking about it and then I'll eventually tell you what the big change is. In a recent video, EA talked about their EA Sports FC and College Football series, their franchises, and what the future looks like for them. So the developers basically talked a lot about this open world playground spaces, something that's most likely coming in the future to both of these game franchises. Basically, the most likely implementation of this idea is going to come in the Road to Glory mode, similar to the city in 2K, where you can walk around, there's no main menu, and basically each building on the campus, which is most likely what it's going to be, has its own specific use that would be found in a basic main menu in some of the other games or in just Road to Glory right now. Like in the city, you could probably be able to buy scooters, clothes, and other stuff for your character to personalize it, or just practical stuff like that. And they probably want to implement that same thing into College Football 25. I knew as soon as I saw this video the past week, I knew I had to make a video about it immediately, even though I haven't made a College Football 25 video in a while, and it's something I just had to talk about because of the significance it's going to have on the College Football 25, series as a whole, if they do choose to include this open world mode. And one of the things I thought was that I actually predicted this mode back, and it leads me to my theory right now. I'm going to tell you, I truly believe that Road to Glory will be an open world, kind of like 2K My Career, where you can go to your dorm, to training, to the stadium, anywhere you want on campus, and that would explain why you need the pictures of the campus. So there you have it. I had that idea back then, and I still believe in it now. Actually, I'm still very high on this idea. I think this would be a great addition to Road to Glory, and I'm gonna go ahead and explain why. Despite a lot of people disagreeing with me on different videos and stuff like that, I really haven't seen any positive opinions about it. I seem like the only one excited about this, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into my opinions. The main complaint with this idea is that it would take too long to get places, and then they would go ahead and sell faster travel through microtransactions like 2K, which is one of the ideas I saw on a TikTok, which basically said, 2K sells these go-karts for like 400,000 VC or something crazy like that, and that's how you're going to get around faster because walking's so slow. But I would gladly take that fault in return for stuff like a full-fledged college campus, and it doesn't even need to be unique for each individual school because that's way too much modeling. But if we do have a full-fledged college campus, maybe just with different logos for the different colleges, I think that would be very, very cool. Imagine showing up to the training facility maybe in the morning, then going to get a meal at the dining hall, maybe riding your bike, maybe walking, something like that, and then going to a house party at night or something like that. People complain and say that they just want to play football or play basketball in sports games and don't want all this extra stuff, but they're going to be the first ones to complain that it's not immersive enough and it's too bare bones. So when EA tries to add stuff like this to the game, I think it makes a very big difference and makes the game more immersive and more enjoyable, and people just in general like to complain, so there's never going to be an addition that everyone likes. An open world campus, of course, if done properly, could be one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a sports video game, or maybe in a video game in general. I actually have a list I created of places potentially that you could go to on a campus, and I'm gonna fly through them right here. I have a stadium, practice facility, film facility, coach's office, dorm, dining hall, library, other people's dorms or houses, bars maybe, bookstores, clothing stores, lecture halls, therapy facilities, open fields, and more. NIL money could be added as a means of currency too for buying stuff at different places, which is another idea I had back in that video on April 19th, so you can go back and watch it. I think it was about a Wyoming journalist, so if you want to, it's at the end of that video, go back and watch it. But basically, NIL money could be a means for buying these different things, buying cars, buying bikes, buying clothes, stuff like that, and I don't think you can come up with an argument for why that wouldn't be super fun to do to make Road to Glory once again just so much more immersive. They could have some sort of energy system like they do now, so that you can't do too much stuff in one day. Maybe you go to the therapy facility one week or one day in a week, and then that's what you do that day. Next day you go study film, and then you're more prepared on game day. So stuff like that I think could be really cool to do and would be easy to implement. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the other side, some of the complaints that could actually very, very well happen. First off, if they make a campus too bare bones, it will definitely become tedious. If they only have like the stadium and a training facility and you just walk it back and forth all the time, then that would be pretty bad. If they make things like bikes too expensive, that could be a problem too. Like I said, bikes need to be affordable, and if they're not, then it's gonna make walking tedious because they need stuff for people who are patient so that they can get around quicker, or maybe just fast travel. You know, that's an easy fix for that. They could also just make the buildings too far away from each other for no reason, because 2K has kind of done that in the past. They've made the most popular things way too far apart, maybe to incentivize you to buy the fast travel stuff like the go-karts. But that could be an easy fix just to avoid entirely for EA. Just condense the campus. It doesn't have to be super realistic. Just make it a lot tighter so that, you know, the travel times don't take as long. Another thing that was brought up is that 2K uses this format so that park games fit in kind of to the whole, you know, scheme of things properly. Like you walk around, you go up to the park, you pick a spot. So there is really nothing like that for football. There's the park in Madden, which obviously didn't really work out that well, so I couldn't see that happening. So EA is not 2K. They're not going to implement it exactly the same as 2K. Maybe they'll go off of it, maybe they won't, but I just am excited to see if they do choose to add this, especially in Road to Glory, what they're going to do with that. And I want you guys to not immediately think this is a bad addition. Just hear, you know, what EA has to say about it, and maybe they'll end up being something super fun that you like to do, and it's a great addition to Road to Glory. But the city, once again, is the only instance really we've seen of something like this in a sports game, so this could go either way. But with that being said, I just had to cover this real quick, and if you made it this far, thank you, and I will see you in the next one.